Welcome to the Business Biography, powered by the Business Experience Show. Entrepreneurs and business owners, this is your media platform to share with the world and our audience your business experience, all about you. On our panel is Cole Smith from ELOC Network. I'm your host, Lisa Caprelli. We have two exciting and well-informed guests today. Ted Hankin, chair of the Probate Trust and Estates Division for Alvarado Smith, will join us the second half of the show. We start off with media consultant Michael Lloyd. He's about to release the first publication of a recent two-book deal and is here to give us the ins and outs of getting a book published. He also enjoys working and traveling internationally and usually finds a way to merge those interests. And now the mic goes to Michael Lloyd.
Well, I don't know what to do after that introduction. That's pretty good.
Quite of an introduction there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have to say, you bring with us people listening from Lebanon, from all over the world. I think I have to give you the first award for world listeners.
Well, I was telling you that, I told everybody I know that I'm on, so everybody's going to be listening, so you have at least 5 or 6 more people.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. I know we can count on you to up our social media. So, Michael, before you even get started with the book, you have to have a concept and idea. Write a concept page and decide where you want to go.
Well, you get a lot of people that jump in and want to write a book. Everybody writes a book, right?
Right.
All right, everyone. We all write a book. We've got ideas for books.
I've talked to a bunch of people this week, and like 4 out of 5 people, I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
That's where the trouble happens, because you want to write a book, and all of us have great ideas, but they never think it out to the end.
Do you roll your eyes when people say, "Oh, I'm writing a book too"?
No, I smile and then roll my eyes in the car. I do all my negative energy in the car. I just get it out and scream and try not to hit people when I'm driving. But yeah, you got to have a concept and you have to outline it. And that's what they teach us in school, right? They teach us to outline your idea, to have an A to Z.
Concept it.
Well, I do want to give you credit where credit's due. Give us a little bit about your background before you got into writing a book where you are today.
Well, I've been in the public relations game and advertising game since I was a little guy. I learned from my father, and he taught me how to cut every corner, and it was tough for me to stay online and not cut those corners and really be an effective public relations, media, and advertising guy. So I've been doing that since I'm right out of high school. I took my life into doing all of these interesting different clients. I've worked with the Walt Disney Company. I've worked with Muscular Dystrophy Association doing their campaigns. I've done industrial public relations, Beckman Industrial, and consumer accounts like Tannery West, and I mean, you name it. I've had my fingertips in all these types of media programs. So I've learned there's not too many people that I know of that do everything from public relations to advertising and such.
Yeah, what's your passion behind that to keep such a long, prosperous career?
I've been writing my second book, which I'm calling Behind the Mic. Okay.
I love that. I introduced you that way. Wow.
Exactly. And I call it Mostly True Stories from the Media Guy. So when I was 6 years old, I used to get to go to the Fabulous Forum here in Inglewood, where the Kings and Lakers played, and I got to work to go to events. So if an event was sold out, they would put me to work.
Oh.
And Jack Kent Cooke, who owned the Lakers and Kings, sometimes he let me sit in his office while I would stuff the season tickets. I'm 7 years old, stuffing season tickets and matching it to make sure that it's going to the right people. But he would do interviews in his office.
I know you were part of a famous advertising campaign slogan. Is that lead into that?
I've fallen and I can't get up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some work I did in it's been so long now, 20 years now.
So it sounds like you've had fun more than you've had to work.
Don't they say if it's work, you shouldn't do it.
Right.
If it's fun and you get paid to do it, then that's what makes it so the passion stays high.
That's right.
So, short story long, that's how you keep your passion. You got to love it.
Yep.
Or else you shouldn't do it. You should do something else.
Right. No, I mean we all of us, business owners, writers, marketing people. You do exactly what you do, and you get up every day. How many hours a day would you say you work?
Sometimes I work 2, and sometimes I work 20.
Cole, can you talk into the mic?
I certainly can.
Close, thank you.
Well, right.
And
it's exciting here. We're just jumping up and down.
I got to get closer. But no, I mean it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours, and sometimes I look up, it's 3 a.m, but I usually don't care. Sometimes I really want to end the day, Right.
And those are long days.
Those are the days you pass out and you go to bed.
Yeah, but I really like what I do, and I try and show the people around me that I like what I do.
Right.
I always try and be up, but I do wear my heart on the sleeve. So when I'm upset about something, there's no doubt about it. I'm upset or I'm happy.
Do you post it on Facebook?
No, Facebook can get you into a lot of
we
trouble.
all can relate where someone posts something on Facebook and you're like, oh, why did they do that?
Well, it's funny. We were talking about, this first book I have is about photography. And the most demoralizing thing when you're trying to be social is when people detag you.
Oh, yeah.
You put them on and you've taken a nice picture and they take themselves off and you sit there and your ego,
Hey, wait, I need you.
Oh, I thought that was a good picture.
Okay, this is kind of off the subject real quick, but when someone's in a relationship and then they unrelationship them, and then everyone comments on that, and so I figured out a way. So this is a tip, actually. If you want to take yourself out of a relationship and you don't get all that, oh my God, what happened? Is you first change relationship to yourself. Only it's shared with yourself, and then you do the unrelationship tag.
Well, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, I know. I thought one of these days I thought I would share this on the radio show.
We won't get into that, but it sounds like you've got some personal experience there.
No, I see it with people all the time, and then they're like, they don't know that it's going to have all these consequences, like what, and the ex saying what, you defriended me or whatever. Anyways, okay.
I leave mine as single, which gets me into enough trouble.
We better stay on the book.
Okay.
So anyway,
yes, back to Michael's book. So Michael has written Landscapes of Life Behind the Lens. Tell us, you got started over a year ago with the idea?
Well, it's been actually 2 years, and I've been wanting. I was like those other people. I wanted to put my book down, and I thought the best way to get into it was to let a picture tell 1,000 words.
Sure.
I don't have too much copy here, which kills me because I'm always fighting with creative directors when they don't value the words, and I'm doing the exact same thing where I make the copy very minimal. But, for 20 years, I've been taking pictures, and
traveling the world.
I've gotten to do some really neat campaigns where we do.
Give our listeners where you've been.
Well, I've been to Lebanon. As a matter of fact, here, I'm going to take you one step back.
Okay.
So I was in Canada last year, and it was 3 a.m. It was flight delay. They're going through my passport. Everything's fine until she starts looking for a place to stamp. And she's flipping through the pages, and she goes, oh, interesting, Egypt. This is right after the Arab Spring. Oh, Egypt twice. Oh, Oman. Oh, Yemen. Oh, Syria 3 times.
We're
Lebanon.
Detain you.
Is there something we should know? So,
right.
I've been all over these countries that most people don't get to go see. Lisa and I were going to go to Syria, and she couldn't go, and now she can't go.
Oh,
and I got to go.
So he has to rub it in. But I got to go to Jordan.
You got to go to Jordan, which is amazing.
Wonderful country,
wonderful people, misunderstood from the regular Americans. They don't understand what goes on, and that's really what I did with this book. I got to hang out with princesses. I get to hang out with people who I got to hang out with a camel jockey.
Wow.
It really wasn't hanging out. He's 12 years old, but he was sold into being a camel jockey by his father,
right?
Into Dubai, and they've done all of these changes now with camel jockeys, and he got reunited with his grandparents who really wanted him to be back home. But I've gotten to do all these things, and you don't really get to see those kind of people up close.
So, Michael, is this kind of with your career, and this is just something that you've been thinking about putting together?
Well, yeah, and one of the things that I did was I was editor of ALO magazine, ALO.
Okay.
And I got to go to all these Middle Eastern countries.
Great.
And as an American, people look at me and say, what are you doing? Well, it should be a Middle Eastern person doing this, and I have to explain, that it's a cross-cultural kind of thing.
Sure.
So I really have gotten to see things from a different angle, and that's what I want the world to see. I want them to see a different perspective from behind a camera.
Right.
Where you're being influenced by media, you're being influenced by what you read
radio,
and what your friends say. So why don't you look at the pictures, see the people, and see that they're just like you and me. So that's what this first book is all about. It's really being able to, I want people to look in the eyes of the people that I'm showing in this book. And,
Beautiful.
And see things really a different perspective.
So a year ago, you come up with the idea. You said you're in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm getting you back on track.
Well, the Canada is the places that I've been.
Yes.
But I really wanted to get this book published. So how do you do it? And getting an agent is really difficult.
Okay.
Getting an agent is really difficult because there's so many books and people are turning so much to the internet that agents are really, if they put out one book, they're getting 1,000 pitches.
Wow.
And if you want to get an agent, you got to finish your book.
Right.
So it's really a hard thing to do. So I went ahead and finished my book, and then my agent, who I've been friends with for a long time, he said, I'm going to help you out, and we're going to get this published. Okay, he's a great guy. His name's Chris Nassif.
Great.
He has owned the 6th largest talent agency in the entire world.
So would you say that helped you get a shortcut?
I think that helped me know that I was on the right track because he put me in touch with the literary people who would do it right. But not all of us can get an agent. I'm lucky on this. He made that happen. But so a lot of people go the self-publishing route, which is easy. You write your book and you get it published.
Right. It's pretty easy. I mean, the thing with anybody today could just about be a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the internet. We can go online and get Photoshop or whatever those, not Photoshop, but some of these writing programs to create online magazines and things like that. The key, though, is finding your distribution.
Finding your distribution and making sure people know about it because, it's great that you published a book, but how are you going to know about it? Do you have your social media in place? Do you have a network of people that will spread the word as well? I got a text message before I came in, and someone told me, the show today is on people's social networks. How did it get there? I'm like, well, they're a fan of this page that I created on Facebook.
Oh, how cute. Someone asked you that?
Circle of influence.
Right. And, the more people that will spread your message around.
Right.
And will do that, not as a favor, but because they want to and they believe in you. It's the ones that are closest to you that start spreading this message all the way around. And that's the most important thing. If you're going to self-publish, you better have a marketing plan behind your plan to write the book.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. We're talking to Michael Lloyd. He's published the book Landscapes of Life, Behind the Lens. He's sharing with us kind of A to Z of how to publish a book. You'll be listening to the Business Biography powered by the Business Experience Show. I'm Lisa Caprelli. We have Cole Smith. We'll be right back. You're listening to Angels Radio, AM 830 KLAA.
Is your business having a difficult time in today's market? If you offer a great product or service but are struggling with tapping into a solid customer base, perhaps we can help. Or maybe you would just like to cut your losses and walk away. The marketing professionals from the Business Experience Show are considering turnaround opportunities with select businesses. If you feel that you can benefit, please contact us through thebusinessexperienceshow.com or call 949-415-8237. That's 949-415-8237.
Welcome back to The Business Experience Show with Lisa, Kramer, and Cole.
Welcome to the Business Biography powered by the Business Experience Show. We have Michael Lloyd, media consultant and author. Thanks for sharing with us how you go about writing and publishing a book. Cole Smith?
Michael, you were talking about having a concept and it's taken you a couple of years. Are you actually writing the book? Do you use a ghostwriter? When do you decide when you do it or someone else does it like that?
I wish I had the luxury to use a ghostwriter because I think a ghostwriter will take your emotion out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really the problem with putting your ideas down, especially if they're personal ideas.
Right.
I don't know if you can. It's really difficult to do it yourself. So ghostwriting, I've done a decent amount of ghostwriting, and everything from screenplays to white papers to autobiographies. It's really important to let them be really emotional, and then you're able to take that out of it. It's almost paramount to doing something.
So,
really well.
As a ghostwriter, you would actually bring their passion in, let them talk to you about how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, your job as a ghostwriter is to actually get as much information out and then start poking holes in their story.
Right.
You want to look for things that aren't true. If they want to embellish, then you have to make sure that that's known, that there's
Correct.
a sense of embellishment there.
Okay.
So it's the way you write it. That's the first thing. You want to make sure that their passion stays there, and you want to make it sound like it's coming from them.
Right, and there's a lot of people that want to write books, and the only way that they're going to write a book is have a
Right.
ghostwriter or something like that.
Right, because there's a lot of people with great ideas,
Yeah.
and also a great mindset, but they don't know how
Great
to put it down.
experience, all those great
yeah,
things.
It's
Sure.
it's almost that Seinfeld thing where they're buying the stories from Kramer for Peterman. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he can't use them anymore. Those kind of things where you want to make sure that they're there.
Right. So what was your next step after you decided you were going to write?
Well, after I decided what I wanted to write, then I did put that outline together, and I spent a lot of time, since it's the first book is very visual,
Right.
laying it out and relaying it out, and then saying, well, that story is boring, and then going to other people and letting them look at it and tell them, that's
Getting feedback.
Right. It wouldn't interest me. So every page, I would say, of this 80-page book has been through at least a dozen people's eyes and hands, and really that's really important too. You want people to read your work, see your work,
Sure.
but you want to keep it, if it's a novel, that's a whole nother story. If it's fiction,
Right.
you don't want to let the intellectual property go, even though people don't need to do too much to really make it their own.
Right.
You want to make sure that that's your own, but you need feedback. That's why if you're going to work with somebody who's going to help you write it, that's where an agent works really well, because they are your conduit to the publishing world. So your editor,
They're working for you to get it out to the market.
Right, and they're
Opening
also
the
making
doors.
sure that you're not duplicating something that's
That's right.
close. They're making sure that
Copyrights are in place, all those types of things.
right, they button everything
So
down.
did you what do you recommend to listeners who are writing the book? You said get an agent if you can. You did the outline, and then the next thing was, how do you protect your idea?
Well, the first thing that I did is I went to the Writers Guild of America. They have multiple ways that you can protect your intellectual property. You can do it the hard way with a lawyer and do a real copyright, but if you can get your concept locked down with the Writers Guild of America, you just Google Writers Guild of America intellectual property, and I think it costs $20 to register your idea. You can register your book once it's done. You can register everything from a treatment to a concept. I don't think you can go as low as a slogan, but everything that you could do in the intellectual world where you have copy on paper.
That's great advice, because I think a lot of us think of the old traditional way or the hard way: get an attorney, go to get a copyright attorney, and then submit it.
You
or
know
they
what?
try to do it themselves.
Another thing that's valuable too is that agents won't take you seriously unless you've been registered
That's a good
somewhere
point.
and have that number that they can double check that belongs to you, because they don't want to waste their time either.
Right.
Because they're getting way too many
Right.
submissions as it is.
How many hours would you say that you spent on putting the book together at this point, and when do you expect to release it?
Well, let's take out the work that actually went behind taking the pictures, so we'll put that aside.
Right.
I would say I put in 1,000 hours.
Wow.
And I think that's conservative.
Right.
I did the layout myself. I've recently asked somebody, a creative director that I really trust, to help me with the cover.
graphics.
Yeah, the cover. On the inside, though, I've done all the graphics myself. There's not too many people that are that hands-on, but I'm kind of a hands-on. I really don't delegate well, because I'm so used to doing everything myself or with a small team. So you only hand a little bit of it off.
But I think a lot of entrepreneurs and writers and creative people were a lot more hands-on.
I think that's important.
It is.
And since it's, of course, your passion, like we were talking about at
Yes.
the top of the show, that if it goes awry, at least you only have yourself to look in the mirror on.
What makes your book different than others out there?
I look at, I don't think very many of these photography books, and this book is all in black and white, really look at the inside of the person, let you determine what's inside that person. I see a lot of landscapes. I see a lot of like erotic type of photo books like this, or architectural and design, but I don't see the architect of people. And that comes from the inside, and I think somehow these pictures allow you to see what's inside a person. And I don't know if you can get that every day. I don't know if you can look at somebody
Right.
and really get into their soul, but somehow
I can't wait to see the book.
you
I
have-
don't even have a sneak peek,
Yeah.
except I have seen your pictures, and I've seen some of them on Facebook, so I know it's going to be an awesome book. I know everyone can write, but not everyone can write with skill. How do you go about charging for something so many people think they can do themselves?
there's a lot of people who come to you and they want to pay you, tiny scale. $250 to write this big thing that they're going to make a fortune. Right? How many times?
Mike,
have
I have
done
a writing project for you. They ask you.
I think you really have to stick to your scale of what you want to get paid.
Yeah.
I think you have to look at what the project's
your
going to
value.
generate. So, as a lawyer would, you take on some as pro bono kind of thing, or really pro bono, and then other things that, like I've helped with screenwriting and people get their ideas moving. I want to see what that's going to income generate for somebody else. So if it's going to generate a lot of income, I want to make sure that I get
attached to that somehow.
Yeah. So
Sure.
It's either a fee or it's it's a little bit coming back on the back end.
But Michael, you've kind of built a brand for yourself. I mean, you've been in the industry for quite some time. You've been around a number of publishers and different types of people. So one of the challenges is most people think because they're an entrepreneur, they're coming up with their writing. They think that their value is very low. So what you just pointed on is what a lot of artists and creative people, they just don't see the value.
Yeah, I think you should always keep your scale high.
Absolutely.
Shoot high. You got to put food on the table, but if it's something that's going to require a lot of work and a lot of energy, you have to stick to a certain pay scale.
Right.
And you have to decide what that pay scale is.
That's
but
true.
I would never try and undersell. And I really fall victim of that too, because you want the business and sometimes it's right in front of you and it looks good and it tastes good, you think, but if
2 months later you're like, oh no, not so good.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about having passions, but having a passion and actually making money with it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a tagline for your book? I mean, if you were just something really quick that we could share with us, or is that still a secret?
He has a blog.
I do have a blog, and the address is so long. I just tell people now, look for the Media Guy on Facebook, like it there, and it's got direct links there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So moving along the book, because
Sorry,
for purposes
sorry.
of time, I know that's my job. So someone's listening, they want to write a book, and I know we're giving general nature of the book process. So you said find an agent, have an outline. Determine how you're going to make money in the industry.
Yeah, and I think you need to. I think Cole was saying earlier about distribution. You really need to make sure your distribution's set up. It's great that you have an agent. It's great that somebody's shepherding your book to being published, but now you have to worry about pricing, and you got to worry about where it's going to be distributed.
What are the goals for your book?
It's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be out by Christmas, it looks like. I would like it to get some recognition. I would like it to be reviewed well. I would like to get some feedback, so it's a platform for something else bigger. This is more of a passion project. I've got a lot of other ideas that would hopefully help it get recognized on a greater scale.
What do you do if you say you have distribution in place, you have it on Amazon, but what if it doesn't do what you think it's going to do?
How do you create buzz for your book?
Yeah, how do you create the buzz?
It's all marketing. It's all marketing. Yep. And like I said, the publisher has to do their job. They have to be getting news releases out. This is where I can rely on myself a little bit because I know the PR world. I can get to the right kind of people to write news stories on it, to review the book, to make sure that you're moving at a higher level. You can keep your costs down as well by making sure that you have an ebook ready that those people who want to review it can review it easily, and you can email it to them.
Right.
So you're not having to take a lot out of your stock.
Right.
That's very big now. I know that publishers really used to send out a lot of books, and now that they can't be able to.
Just keep that social buzz going, though. Your friends, your family, and their friends, and their family.
Well, Cole, you've also published books. What do you suggest today for the listener who has an idea for a book, but the person that really has the right idea for a book, they're actually going to execute it like Michael has? What do you suggest with social media, with the digital platform that's out there today that can help?
Well, I mean, it's a hard world. Everyone has a book or an idea and going and creating a good book, but you don't have to be the expert that Michael is. You've got great ideas, and we talked about what is a bestseller. 5,000 a week for how long? It's
amazing how few can make you a bestseller.
Right.
But it just popped into my head. Really, what you should do if you want to write a book, you should really start your own blog. It's free on Google.
You go.
Google Blogger.
And you get feedback.
You practice your writing. It can be really crappy for a long period of time. You build
your
a following.
Concepts, and you build your following. That's actually very good.
Michael, thanks for sharing with our listeners the landscapes of life behind the lens. I want you to share with us, I'm giving you credit because I know people don't like to talk about themselves. Tell us some of the awards you received in your media career.
Well, I've been nominated for a lot of things. We just did this.
Share with me.
Well, one of the people that we helped a few years ago, his name is Hussein Balhas. He's got Fraser syndrome. He was left for dead. He was left for dead when he was born in 2006. We brought a foundation that I'm on the board with, the Allo Cultural Foundation. We brought him into the country. we taught him English. We got him fixed up. Everything was wrong with him. His hands, his feet. He's only got one eye. He couldn't hear well. His tongue was attached wrong.
And you've moving along. I know you've gotten Emmy awards. Tell us about that.
Well, it was nominated for an Emmy award. I've been nominated for several Clio awards and Peabody awards. I've won some direct marketing
for radio and
associations.
television broadcasting.
Yep. What's your plans beyond this?
I would really like this to be something
A
I do
launching pad for
besides
yourself.
media consulting.
Right.
That's what I'm doing right now, media and consulting. I would like to make this move into something greater. I've got, a stack of television treatments that are ready to go that would be mine and not written for somebody else.
Right.
I would
create
really,
your own assets and then learn how to market them.
To learn more about Michael Lloyd, you can go to our website, thebusinessexperienceshow.com. That's Michael Lloyd, media consultant and author. Thanks for sharing with us about a book.
Well, thank you for having me. It
goes by so quick.
Yeah.
We have to have you back. We'll have you back after you publish your book.
After you actually see it.
After I see it. Michael Lloyd, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Cole. Thanks, Lisa.
You bet.
His
Thanks,
book is
Michael.
titled Landscapes of Life Behind the Lens. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Business Biography. I'm Lisa Caprelli. We have Cole Smith. You're listening to Angels Radio, AM 830 KLAA. We'll be right back.